Hey there, Steamboat Baptist Church. Pastor John Day here, getting ready for church services this Sunday, where we're going to kick off a new series called Looking Through Heaven's Door. And we're going to look at Revelation chapter 4 and 5, where the Apostle John gets this really privileged glimpse into the throne room of God. And I get the opportunity to preach this Sunday on Revelation chapter 4. And there's just a lot there that I won't be able to get into all of it on Sunday, so I wanted to share some of it with you here. And in Revelation 4, we meet some new characters that haven't really shown up yet in the book. And there are these four just wild heavenly creatures. And verse 7 of chapter 4 describes them like this. In the center around the throne were four living creatures. They were covered with eyes in front and back. The first living creature was like a lion, the second like an ox, the third had a face like a man, and the fourth was like a flying eagle. Each of the four living creatures had 6 wings and was covered with eyes all around, even under his wings. Like, what on earth are these things? Now, we've seen this a pretty impressive picture of Jesus that Pastor Harrison has shown us the last few weeks. But here we get the first glimpse into something that we really have no earthly point of reference on, these heavenly beings. And so the Apostle John's trying to put words to describe really what he saw. Now, this isn't the first place that these guys show up in the Bible. Ezekiel chapter 1, the Old Testament prophet Ezekiel has a similar experience where he gets to look into the throne room of God, and he describes creatures that are very similar. Some commentators will say that they're different creatures than in Revelation, because Ezekiel describes them as having 4 faces of those 4 animals, where here in Revelation they each have 1 face, 4 different creatures with those faces. But I think that it's more like when 2 people trying to describe a car accident that they were in, and their stories are a little bit different. It's this overwhelming experience, and they're just, that's their point of view of it. So I think they're the same creatures, and so I think there's a consistency, Old Testament to New Testament, of what heaven looks like, which I think that's pretty interesting. Now, some commentators will also try and associate these 4 creatures with the 4 gospel writers, and I don't really understand that one, other than the fact that there were 4 of each. That's about the best that I can do. But it gets a little closer. There are some that will say that these 4 creatures and the animal faces associated with them, the lion being the noblest animal, and the ox being maybe the strongest, and the man being the wisest, and the eagle being the swiftest. Okay, I think that's getting closer. I think that really what's going on, and this is where I'm going to go with it on Sunday, is that these living creatures are representative of some domains of God's creation, where the lion he's the lion, sort of the top of the heap of the wild animals, okay? And then the ox is maybe the strongest and most useful of the domesticated agricultural aspects of creation. And man would be the most sophisticated and have, civilization connected to them. And the eagle would be the unknowable areas of creation, that back in John's day, they couldn't fly. They didn't really know what was up in the sky. They didn't scuba dive. They couldn't know what was under the waters. So the eagle represents maybe the unreachable or unknowable parts of creation. And I think that's what's going on with those creatures. Now, a few chapters later, these guys have a pretty important job. Each one of these 4 creatures is actually the ones that call forth one of those 4 horsemen of the apocalypse that we're all so familiar with. And if you want to know what they're up to here in chapter 4, well, please join us on Sunday, and I'll get into that then. We're going to have 3 services Sunday morning, 8:30, 10 o'clock, and 11:15. We'll see you there.